Well, Carson, how does it feel to be down here prepping for this game? What's the mood been like for you guys?
It feels good. Yesterday to come down here, practice in Miami, it was definitely different than the weather that we've been having up in Georgia.
Had you been to Miami? I mean, I guess being from Jacksonville, had you been to Miami a few times?
Yeah,
For any football functions down here?
especially when I played baseball whenever I was younger, we used to come down here all the time.
It's been a few days since you announced the decision to come back for another year. Just what went into that decision? What were the conversations with the staff like, and how did you ultimately get to that one-on-one?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me was obviously coming back, playing with the guys. Obviously, the camaraderie that we have in the locker room. I mean, that's a huge part, and it's hard to just leave that. I feel like the chemistry that we have, the standard that we've set. A lot of those things really led me to coming back and wanting to do this again. With these players around me.
Is there an unfinished business notion of wanting to come back and get to the playoff, win a national championship next year? Did that factor into the decision?
I mean, I feel like that's always part of it. I feel like if we hadn't have lost that game, maybe things would be different. But obviously, that's the way that things panned out, and mentally, that definitely had an effect on my decision.
I guess when did you know? Who did you really talk to in the days and weeks following the SEC championship?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of conversations with my family and coaches and things of that sort, and then obviously people that I trust and confide in with, in a huge decision like that. But I think I knew truly a few days after the game, in my heart, I knew exactly what I wanted to do and what I was going to do. I just had to talk to people and make sure that everyone was kind of in agreement with what exactly I wanted to do.
What about the idea that you waited 3 years to start and if you go to the NFL, certainly you could be holding your plate?
Yeah, that was definitely part of it too. I mean, I waited 3 years, didn't play, and then obviously I've gotten the opportunity to play this season, and it's fun. It's a lot more fun to be on the field than not be on the field. So knowing that I get another opportunity, a chance to come back and play another year at the University of Georgia, it's going to be a lot of fun and enjoyable.
What about, there's a lot of stuff going around about NIL. What can you say about that? What discussions, how did that figure into it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there, and I'm sitting there, and we haven't even talked about anything as far as, I mean, I don't even know when all that came out. I guess a month before the SEC championship game is when I started seeing stuff and rumors about what I was asking for and saying and whatnot. I had never even had a conversation about whether or not I was coming back, a decision. Obviously, being the quarterback at the University of Georgia, there's going to be NIL opportunities, but that was never a main factor in my decision on coming back.
For those 24 hours, you lose the title game, and the committee comes out and says what it says. How did you process that double dose of disappointment? What was it like to bounce back and get refocused for whatever was coming next?
It was tough. It was really, really tough, especially right after the game. I mean, we haven't experienced a loss in a long time, I mean, obviously I hate losing, probably more than I love winning, but I feel like we've won so much, the past couple of years, and to take a loss and walk off the field and try to process that is really hard, especially in a big game, and it's a competitive game too, where we missed opportunities. There's a lot of different things that we could have done better, but that's part of the game. And I think the whole team has really, kind of had a chip on their shoulder ever since we lost that game, and really came to work and really, we've practiced really, really well, I think, for this bowl prep, and we've really taken it seriously.
How hopeful were you 12-1, 29, doing what you guys have done the last couple of years? How hopeful were you that the committee would say, that's enough? Did you have hope, or did you kind of know?
I kind of knew, honestly, and in my heart, I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to get in. We could only hope from that point that maybe we get the opportunity, maybe we get the chance, but that was our playoff game. I mean, two top-ranked teams in the SEC championship. I mean, whoever wins probably is going to get in. and that's, we ended up losing that. So.
Carson, how much growth have you seen out of Marcus Rosen-Johnson over your time together?
A ton of growth. He's one of the smarter wide receivers, I would say, as far as understanding the game, understanding coverages. Also, just super strong hands. Very reliable receiver that is going to get open. So, and he's been able to develop that, and obviously the chemistry that we've had since. Honestly, in high school, I remember throwing to him at the opening in my sophomore year in 2016, 2017. So we've known each other for a long time, and it's cool to see his development over the past couple of years.
Carson, did you know when you were talking with the staff about coming back that they were going to get a reload and put some guys around you so that you can have the sort of senior season that can catapult you into a Heisman race or becoming an early first-round pick? I guess talking about guys like Etienne and Colby.
Yeah, they definitely had those conversations talking about, hey, we're going to go into the portal, we're looking at a few guys. Obviously, they didn't name names at that time because it's not for me to know, but they did go out and obviously get some of those guys. I'm super excited to get to play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about having a back and you've had good backs around you and good receivers to work with, but having a guy like Etienne or having a 6'5" receiver, this young Vandy guy looks like he's got some wheels and can read routes. How important is it to have weapons like that coming in?
Yeah, obviously that's the biggest thing for me as a quarterback or any quarterback is having those weapons around you. If you don't have it, it's kind of a one-man show, and I don't really run very much, so the whole one-man show for me is not applicable. So I need that type of talent around me. I'm very thankful for the talent that I've had around me, but at the end of the day, it is a team effort. We're going to have to get in the lab, start building the chemistry, figure out the offense. But I'm excited that those guys are going to come in and help us.
Is it going to be weird at all with Etienne knowing that he was playing for your rival a couple weeks ago?
For him mentally maybe whenever we play against them. I know that's always tough, but
not for you though.
No, not for me. We'll take him in, accept him as one of our own, and I'm sure he'll prove himself when he gets here.
Is there anything stand out about Florida State's defense when you see them on film? I know the personnel may not be exactly what it was during the season. Anything stand out about the defense?
Very tough as far as the way that they challenge you. It seems like they play a lot of match defense. They're going to pressure you in different types of ways. Get down in the red zone, play you man, third down, play you man. So in that way, challenging our wide receivers to get open in one-on-one matchups and situations. That's one thing that I've seen from their defense.
Carson, what was your process that led you back to playing another season of college ball when you could have declared for the NFL and you've probably been drafted pretty high? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that factored into my decision was just the chemistry and the connection in our locker room and just the standard that we've set at Georgia and having the opportunity to do that again for another year. Obviously this season has been super fun for me and I've enjoyed, every step of the way, every single game, getting to play, go out there, do what I love. So, to be able to make that decision to come back and do it again was the right decision.
Your teammates yesterday were talking about you seem to have taken it to another level in bowl practices. And do you think that had anything to do with kind of getting your decision out there and behind you? And I guess, do you agree with that assessment? Do you feel loose and focused and accurate?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I definitely think it was something that was heavy on my mind, immediately after the game. But now that it's in the past, people aren't really talking about it. It's not something that I have to think about. I can just lock in and focus on this game, our plan, and going out there and just trying to execute at the highest level.
Right.
How do you view your season? Obviously, for a first-year starter, it's hard to find too much fault with the numbers you put up and the production. But I'm sure you are a tough critic. And where do you see your game for next season? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah, I felt like this season was okay. I did some good things, I did some bad things, but you're right. I am super high on myself. I set really high expectations. But definitely could have done a whole lot better. There were so many opportunities left out on the field, so many decisions where it's I go back and watch on film, I'm I've done that 1,000 times, and how could I possibly mess that up, So just really coming back and being super tough on myself as we go into next year. Obviously finish out this year strong, but going into next year being super critical of myself and really honing in on the areas that I need to improve on.
Carson, I think I was second in the country in third down conversion rate. As a quarterback, what was the key to y'all's success this year on third down?
The biggest thing is the preparation part for me. Obviously, third down is the toughest down, especially when you're getting into third and 8, 9, 10, plus. I mean, it's really favorable for the defense, and there's obviously, they set up different packages, they put in different players to blitz the crap out of you, run crazy coverages, try to trick you, but the preparation that we put in, and we put a lot of emphasis actually on Wednesdays, like third downs, and now we'll do them on Thursdays too, so today's practice we'll do a lot of third downs, but getting like almost every single look that we think that could come. Obviously, defenses put in different packages for different offenses, the same that we do for different defenses, but the preparation, and then obviously the guys that we have and the knowledge that they have to be able to run certain routes against certain coverages, that's a huge part. But we do have one more game to try to be first in the country. So
Kirby mentioned all year how he kind of felt like you were the same guy from week 1 to week 12. We kept asking about areas of improvement, and he said it seemed like the same guy. Did you feel like you improved at all this year? Was there ever a moment that it kind of clicked as the first year started?
I think as far as like the skills and that stuff, like it was always there. But I feel like if you watch the film, like it doesn't look like the same person throughout the year. Like you can tell like the confidence, kind of just the aura like that I started to build over each game. Because week 1 Carson and week 11 Carson were not the same quarterback at all.
Just the feel in the pocket, Carson. You got to see you move around and scramble a little bit. Looked like towards the end of the year, you looked a lot more confident, moving a lot faster. Can you talk about getting back to playing football, full contact again for the first time in a while?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a huge thing as far as like playing the game again. Week 1, 2, like I'm like, okay, when do I take off? When do I not? When do I take a sack? When do I throw the ball away? Because like in practice, I'm not getting hit. So like half the time I'm just sitting in the pocket trying to work on progressions, reads. I might slide over to the left or right every now and then. But as you continue to, play week to week and, start feeling the pressure, know, okay, there's the gap, like I'm going to take off. It's just a feel thing at that point.
You talk about week 1 Carson and week 11 Carson being completely different. How big of a difference can there be between 2023 Carson and 2024 Carson?
Huge difference in my eyes. There's a lot of areas that I'll go back and watch this season, watch every single play over and over again. I kind of just talked about it, but there's so many things that I can improve on and just continue to get better at. And even the confidence piece of just going out there and believing in this team, believing in myself, and understanding exactly what defenses are trying to do. But I think that there can be a huge improvement from year to year.
Did you and your inner circle come up with a number in NIL that you wanted the collective or the Georgia side of it to meet?
Yeah, so we, I actually talked about this earlier. No, you're good. I didn't really talk about it, but a little bit. What I was saying is, there was a lot of numbers thrown around, before that. I want to say it was like a month before the SC Championship game or so. And I'm sitting there and I'm seeing it on Twitter, and Coach Smart's like, where is this coming from? Where I'm like, we haven't even talked about it. I haven't even said anything. We haven't even talked about the decision. But that was not like one of the biggest factors of me coming back. Obviously as the quarterback at Georgia, there's going to be plenty of opportunities outside of Georgia, for me to make NIL and things like that. But for now, like coming back and trying to win a championship with these guys and this team, like, is so important to me. And I know that's so cliche and that's like what I'm supposed to say, but like I truly like believe that and mean that.
Carson, can you put into perspective how the Georgia offense works? I mean, a lot of times in the media we hear from fans and they'll say, oh, well, Mike Bobo called the wrong play, and then you hear Delp say, hey, there's 4 plays in every play. Like when you go to the line, there's different options depending on the defenses, right? And how much do you have to go through at the line of scrimmage processing to get from the protections to the plays? I guess you could probably explain it better than I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's certain plays that we do have where there's like multiple plays like built in, just based on like the look and what they give us. There's premier looks for each play, so just try to get us into the right play. It's more run plays. When there's pass plays, it's usually on unless it's a zero blitz or it's man and I want to give like a man route, you know what I'm saying? So, but there's multiple decisions that get made throughout a game, and then some plays are just call it, run it, and there's no check to be had.
So there's plays where you look out at your receivers, and from what Delp was saying, each one of these guys has option routes. They have 2 or 3 different things they can do, and you've got to know every series for every receivers against every coverage. So that's a lot of multiplicity.
Oh yeah, it's a lot, and I guess what he's talking about is more of like in one route based off of the look. Like you run it multiple different ways. You know, at the end of the day, you're running the same route, but it's going to look different based off of the coverage that is presented.
Have you thrown the ball to London, or is he working more with different quarterbacks?
I've thrown it to him a little bit, not much. Obviously, he's been with us the past 3 days, I think, 3 or 4 days. But yeah, he looks super smooth. Definitely excited to continue to work with him.
Did you pull up tape of Colby from Miami and London just to learn more about their games outside of knowing about throwing?
I've only watched them a little bit just from things that I've seen, on the internet and stuff like that. But super excited to get to work with them. You know, they both look very talented. So definitely excited to start building that chemistry and get to work.
You gonna work on your end zone fade a little bit? I mean, you got a 6'5" guy out there now with a dunk ratio that's something.
Having size like that is, especially a wide receiver, and to be able to move the way that he does from what I've seen, it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to and excited to play with.
So we're on the outside looking in. I mean, do you talk to these? I mean, Brock Bowers is Brock Bowers, but do you ever go to Ladd McConkey and mention their 1,000-yard season still out there? Or potential
Oh yeah, I
career
mean,
for him?
I'm in his ear every single day. Obviously, he hasn't made his decision yet, but trust me, I'm in his ear every single day. I'm like, Lad, you could come back. I mean, no injuries. Look at what we did when you were healthy. He's definitely a guy that you want out there on the field with you. So.
It's interesting to hear you talk about how much better you can be and being in this self-critical element where at the beginning it was almost like Carson building his confidence up. Now the confidence is there. Now you're being super self-critical. When did you cross that bridge, I guess, from building yourself up to have the kind of confidence you needed to now being hypercritical of yourself to hone your skills?
Yeah, I think I've always been very critical of myself, but I think you're right that in the beginning of the season it was more of like building my confidence and that sort of thing. And now that that's like implemented and in place, I'd probably say like after the Kentucky game is really when I started to get very critical of myself. That was my best game of the season so far, I'd say, at least statistically. But ever since that game, it's really been like super focused on like the little things and just constantly trying to improve week to week.
Carson, I have one question about Ryan Woodway. What have you seen from him the early part of these bowl practices and kind of getting his feet wet?
Yeah, I remember seeing him. When did he come? I guess he came over either the spring or the summer, and then obviously now getting to see even more of him. But super strong arm, great kid, super smart. So having a guy like that added into the quarterback room is always good and always drives competition and pushes all the guys around us to be better.
For a quarterback specifically, how much can it help? Not just rolling around, but being here for bowl practices too. How much can that benefit him looking down the line in his career?
Huge. I think the more practices that you can get, the more comfortable you get at a faster rate. Like for me, when I came in, I came to the bowl practices, and then obviously we didn't get to travel to the site back then. I think they were playing Baylor in the Sugar Bowl, maybe it was. That was 2019. So, but I only got to have like 4 practices, and then COVID hit, and then we didn't even get spring football. So like now I'm just in fall camp over the summer. Like I missed so many reps, so much practice, but for a guy to come in, get all these reps to practice, start picking up the speed even faster is going to help him as far as development at a faster rate.
Do you ever mess with the guys, that have come in after you, like, tell them, like, pretty lucky, dude, like, I came into this whole thing when the world was going crazy?
Yeah, no. That's definitely a crazy situation. My freshman year was insane as far as, like, the COVID year. Traveling, not traveling, who's sick, who's not, who's going to be there, who's playing. That was a crazy season. But these guys get to come in and, travel down to Miami. I wish I could have traveled down to Miami as a high school senior.
When you look at all the guys here, all y'all came in the class of 2020, that first year was crazy. Just when you look back on it now, what is the bond like between you guys? You experienced that, you won 2 national championships, and now you're here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've built a really good bond, that 2020 class. And a lot of those guys, I mean, are even in the league now in the NFL, and I mean, a lot of them are going to go this year as well. So to be able to build that bond and, have that chemistry between the guys that you came in with, I mean, that's a huge part of it. And we are one win away from being the winningest senior class in Georgia history. So, that's another big part that, we've been thinking about is, going out there and really focusing and trying to get this win for, the seniors in that class.
Carson, Kirby talked about JT Daniels early in your career being an influence. I guess JT now looks like he's retired from football. Looks like he might go into coaching. Can you talk about the influence that he had on that quarterback room? And did you take anything from some of the preparation that he was teaching everybody?
Yeah, I mean, JT, one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever been around, maybe even the smartest as far as guys that, I've been in the same quarterback room with. But, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do now and, like, the way that I read different plays, see coverages is really what he taught me, That was a lot of it because whenever I was younger, just trying to understand the offense at a more, like, intricate level, I would go to him and ask him questions and really watch him and how he would prepare for games and how he would do things. So a lot of stuff I learned was from him, and I still implement that in, almost everything that I do now.
Do you do some training in the off season still with other quarterback coaches? I know that that's kind of become the norm now for elite NFL types to have quarterback coaches. And how does that work within the structure of what you do at Georgia?
Yeah, so obviously I work with Denny Thompson. I've been with him since sophomore year of high school. I don't know, something about he just knows my mechanics. He knows what I need to do. I mean, he's seen me for so long. And it's like I'll sit here and, maybe I'm not throwing it the best one day. And he's like, just tweak this, and then I'll tweak it, and then I'm throwing the crap out of it. But having him is definitely an advantage for me. He's helped me so much throughout my career. And not even just that, but also the mental side of the game and understanding that type of stuff. But having a guy that you can go to outside of, the Georgia circle and being able to go away, go home, train with him, it's a huge part of my game.
As far as the Bobo relationship, I've heard so much from Aaron and other quarterbacks about how hyped up Coach Bobo gets and how he likes to throw it all over the yard. What has that relationship been like, and how has that evolved for you?
Yeah, obviously he was here last year as well, not with the quarterbacks, but we didn't really have a relationship at all because he was with the tight end. So then moving over to the offensive coordinator, coaching the quarterbacks, that relationship has only continued to build. I feel like the trust has been earned both ways. And obviously I'm super excited to finish out the season strong with him and then come into next year, already having that relationship built.
How do you think he did as coordinator? He get himself out the fall, Lunkin leading you guys to a couple of national titles.
I think he's done a great job up to this point. I think a lot of people give him hate and criticism, and I just don't think that it's fair. The statistics that we've put up as an offense and, the way that he's been able to call plays and be explosive this year and really utilize the guys that we've had on offense. I think he's done a great job, and I think that's only going to improve as we continue this. Bringing in talented players that are going to help the program, I'm all for it. So, seeing some of the guys that are going to come in and be able to help us next year, I'm definitely excited to get to work with them and start building that chemistry.
So, London's out here with you guys. I know it's early, but what have you seen just as he's sort of getting set up?
Yeah, he's been here for 3-4 days, I think, with us. So obviously I haven't gotten to throw him much because, we're not going to implement him into the ones because he can't play. But, getting to throw on the side during like special teams period and things like that seems very smooth, very, fast as hell too. But definitely excited to, get to work with him and start building that chemistry.
How did having a tight end like Brock, a player like Brock, sort of help you in your first year as a starter, knowing you've got one of the best players, not just in the SEC, but in the country as well on your team?
Yeah, we try to get him the ball as much as possible throughout the season. Obviously, him being injured was tough for us and tough for him as well. He's such a hard worker. For him to even come back from that injury so fast and be able to help us at the way that he did, it's always nice to have a player like that on your team. And there aren't many guys quite like him. So.
Carson, I'm sure there were so many reasons you decided to ultimately come back next year. What was the biggest reason?
I think the biggest reason for me was just the connection and the chemistry, the camaraderie that I have with these guys and this team, and what this team stands for. The standard that we've built. Coming back, and the fact that the goal every year is to win the national championship. Not every team can say that, and that's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of work that gets put into that. There's a lot of grinding that gets put into that. A lot of long days, but when you can find love and joy in that process, and really understand that you're never going to get these years back of your life. It really led to me saying, let's do it.
Talked about the portal, but are you now the poster boy for not leaving? I mean, how tough was it? How close did you come to maybe dipping that ass?
Yeah, I mean, it was always tough, and obviously it crossed my mind at times. It's not easy to sit there and not play. Doing the same thing that the guys that are playing are doing. Just waking up, coming to practice, working out, doing all these things that we do. It's not easy at the University of Georgia. That's how we like it. But to sit all these years and then finally have the opportunity to play, that also probably factored into my decision a little bit. I sat here for 3 years and didn't play. Why would I not come back and take advantage of another opportunity to play on such a great team?
What kind of relationship do you have with Ryan
Yeah, I think we've built a great relationship. It started over the summer, so I hosted him whenever he came and visited. So I've gotten to get to know him a little bit better. Super strong arm, great person as well. Very smart, very talented. I'm definitely excited to see him as he continues to develop over the next couple of years.
What did you learn about yourself this year, your first time as a starter, and seeing that you could go out there and do it and prove it to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was great to prove to myself that I can go out there and compete at a high level in the SEC. But the other thing I learned is that I can do so much better. There's so many things that I can improve on in different areas that I can be better in. So I'm definitely excited, to try to finish the season strong and then start honing in on the areas that I can be better in, going into next year.
Cedric Van Pran, he's a guy, I think he's starting his 44th game on Saturday. If it's his final one here at Georgia, just how much did he mean to this program with all that he's brought to this team?
Yeah, I mean, he's meant everything to this program, meant everything to me as well. The relationship that we've built over the past 4 years has been definitely something special, and definitely something special to me. Obviously, to lose a guy like that, it's always hard. Just how smart he is, the leadership that he brings to our team. It's definitely someone's definitely gonna have to step up and fill that role, which isn't gonna be easy. He's meant everything to this university, and obviously, he's given his heart to it. So.
And then Dylan Bell's a guy very versatile, played a lot of different roles for you guys this year. How did you sort of see him develop as a playmaker for you guys over the course of the season?
I still remember the first day that he got here over the summer 2 years ago, and he was out there making plays, and I was like, who is this guy? So for him to continue to develop and kind of step into a bigger role where we have to rely on him to make plays, it's definitely been something special. And I think as the years continue to go, he's only going to continue to step into that role even more.
How'd your relationship grow and change and evolve over the course of the season with Mike Bova as you sort of guys settled into a rhythm and have a better idea of what works and what doesn't for you?
Yeah, I mean, our relationship has obviously continued to grow, and it's going to forever grow. I definitely think the trust is there, absolutely, between the both of us. Obviously, this is his first year as offensive coordinator, my first year as a quarterback, so just trying to learn the things that he likes, and then obviously him learning the things that I like. It's a team effort between the two of us. I'm essentially an extension of him on the field, so having trust in him and faith in what he's doing in the game plan, it's definitely something that we've been able to build throughout the season.
Awesome. Thanks, Carson.
Yes, sir.